What is going on, everybody? ZyoniK here, and in today's video I wanted to try out some new Pokemon, that being Steelix and Golisopod. Golisopod I think is extremely meta and very fun to use, so I finally pulled the trigger on that investment, and I also pulled the trigger on Steelix. Now, you might be curious about my IVs on Steelix. I really don't have good IVs for Onix or Steelix in order to get something that's, extremely good in terms of PvP IVs. So what I instead went for was something that didn't cost me a lot of XL candy, so that I could just power it up basically like normal and get it within viable range to be used in the Ultra League, so I can use it and then save up XL candy for a future one. So that's my plan. You guys are going to see today it actually still does okay. We're also pairing it with Zapdos to bring some spice and some fun and some booms, and overall this team was pretty cool. The takeaways from it right away before we dive into all the battles: Golisopod, extremely meta, extremely viable. Same with Steelix. Zapdos, hit or miss, but obviously can have a lot of fun as well. So let's get right into it. All right, getting into the first battle, we have Steelix on the lead versus Galvantula. So this is actually a very good lead for us because of our typing, and they do swap in to a Giratina here. Now, I can't easily swap into anything in terms of like Zapdos or Golisopod because the Giratina is just going to outbulk. So what I want to look to do is debuff it with Breaking Swipe and then come in. And I think the Zapdos coming in is going to be my best option, because I can take Switch potentially and also have a Drill Peck on the back end for Galvantula. So we're going to go ahead and let these body slams go through. Thanks to the Breaking Swipe, they don't do that much damage, and we're going to be going for Drill Pecks here. They're both neutral damage. It's a little bit less than Thunderbolt, but Drill Peck at least is going to allow me to have the opportunity here to throw one more and then potentially farm down with Thundershock. Now, Thundershock is a legacy move as well, if you guys were curious. You do need that in order for Zapdos to be anywhere near viable, but we will get to another Drill Peck here. And then this is now a good range to farm down. I might have to give up a shield on the next body slam. I don't need to on this one, but my opponent decides to actually swap back into Galvantula, so they got switch locked right there, which is obviously perfect for me. So my Zapdos would have been able to farm down there against Giratina, and either way, we maintain the switch advantage here. Now, we're going to do quite a bit of damage here with Breaking Swipe, and thanks to our Ground Steel typing, we resist everything here from Galvantula. Cross Poison, Lunge, Discharge, whatever it is, we are sitting good, and we do not need to give up shields. And our opponent gave up a shield right there, which makes this endgame very good for us. So there's not a lot that Golisopod can't beat when it comes to shield and energy advantage in this meta. So we're going to go ahead and kind of play to that and look to solely save our shields for the Golisopod. So I'm going to go ahead and let these go through, and then I'm actually going to look to swap into Golisopod now to get an aggressive farm down here, as I can get the full farm before they get to a charge move. So that was a risky play on me, but ultimately I think it paid off, as now they bring in a Tapu Fini. They tried to catch a charge move there on Giratina, but we get another aggressive farm down, and I'm loaded on energy. They decide to surrender, so good game, very well played. All right, moving to the next one, we got Steelix versus Alolan Sandslash. So this is a tough one. This is an absolutely tough matchup, and what I look to do here is try to catch the Drill Run on Golisopod. A lot of the times you can, and I'm going to show two battles today. This one I catch it, right, and another battle I don't. Kind of see how that plays out. So we catch the resisted charge move. They bring in a Giratina Altered, which is totally fine for us. This is a good setup where we can do a lot of chip damage and super effective damage in terms of Aerial Ace and Shadow Claw. And then it frees up Zapdos, right, for the end game potential. And it also allows our, and no boost thankfully, allows our Steelix here to farm down with Dragon Tail to get a lot of energy back into that matchup against Alolan Sandslash. So we are going to get farmed down, which is fine. It's all about Steelix coming in now and loading up on energy to have a better matchup against the Alolan Sandslash, because we will have an Earthquake by that time, which sets us up either with the basically near one-shot or the 2-to-1 shield advantage for Zapdos. So that's what we're going to look to do, and why it's so important. If you use this team, you got to try to catch that Drill Run, because that's the only way really to come back. So we're going to go ahead and look to go for the Earthquake when it does come back in. And if this lands, obviously an incredible amount of damage. So let's see what happens. And it does. Woohoo! And they swap out into Golisopod, which is fine by me because I can go for a Breaking Swipe here. I'm going to go ahead and no shield. I think Liquidation is not going to be enough to KO, which is not. I'm barely able to survive. But the Breaking Swipe here is going to apply a debuff so that Zapdos has a much better time. And now we're going to go ahead and swap into that and get ahead on energy. And we have Drill Pecks. Even if the Alolan Sandslash does catch a potential charge move here, when it comes to the resisted damage, it's still going to KO it, which is fine. I don't want the Alolan Sandslash to get anywhere near close to a Ice Punch, right? So we're just going to be throwing out these Drill Pecks as soon as we get them, just trying to get the Golisopod off the field. The hardest hitting charge move left in the game is, in fact, going to be the Ice Punch. So we need to play to that as they do decide to come in with the Alolan Sandslash, and I do almost get the farm down. I will shield here. Ice Punch is the hardest hitting move left in the game, and we should actually be able to win CMP tie here against Golisopod with the Drill Peck, so that is going to be a good game, very well played. Again, this game I was able to overcome because I caught the Drill Run, so good game right there. All right, moving into the next one. This is a game where I don't catch the Drill Run. So we got Alolan Sandslash again on the lead. I'm going to play it exactly the same. Look to catch the Drill Run right here, but my opponent holds the energy. And this is where things get very dangerous because an Alolan Sandslash with energy is something to look out for. Now they have a Clefable instead in the back instead of a Giratina Altered. Similar coverage when it comes to beating fighters. But Liquidation is going to do very well in this matchup for me. So my hope here is that I could potentially get a nice farm down as I do decide to shield the Moonblast. Is that I could potentially go for I maybe could have gone for Aerial Ace right there now looking back. But I'm going to go ahead and go for Liquidation. My hope is to get the 1-0 shield. So I'm going to go ahead and go for the back-to-back here, as it should do quite a bit of damage. I could have also shielded and fully farmed down, so they decided to let it go. Now they come in with their own Golisopod here, as we go ahead and go for Aerial Ace now for super effective damage. So we're kind of in a tough position, because remember, the Alolan Sandslash has a lot of energy. Yes, it threw an Ice Punch at my Golisopod, but it also overcharged a lot. So I think it already has, let's just assume, one full charge move ready to go. So my hope is that I can catch a charge move on Steelix and hope that that works out. Now, we do see them decide to stay in with Golisopod. I'm forced to throw the Drill Peck right here. And then my hope is to catch an Ice Punch on Steelix. So let's see if we can do it. They threw right away. So this is unfortunate for me. I'm going to be forced to shield right here because Steelix, the only way I can win is catching the Ice Punch, right? So I'm going to go ahead and load up. I'm going to look to throw Thunderbolt, and then I'm going to look to swap out and hope that I do catch the charge move here. So let's see if we can get it. And go. Nope, we don't get it. So this is a good play by my opponent, obviously, knowing that my win cons are catching charge moves, as they definitely had enough energy for Ice Punch, but it's a matter of timing, and I do get to the Earthquake right there on CMP tie, so that is very unfortunate for me. Maybe I could have swapped into Steelix sooner, knowing that the energy that I had left or remaining, I could have potentially won, so that is a good note to have, but ultimately we did lose that game, so good game, very well played. Alright, moving to the next one, we got Giratina Altered here on the lead. So very positive lead for us as they do decide to swap into Registeel. So this is a tough one, a Registeel safe swap. So you have to kind of play this in terms of using a team effort in order to win. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and go for the Earthquake first. Registeel obviously will not get KO'd by an Earthquake, so I do sneak that through, which is a good amount of damage. And now my hope is to go for Breaking Swipe, but they do get to the charge move in time. I have to let this go. And you're still wondering, okay, well, there's still a Giratina Altered to worry about, and you're right. So I bank a Breaking Swipe, and then I swap into Zapdos right here. And I'm going to look to over farm on energy if I can. That way I have a lot on the back end versus the Giratina Altered that is likely coming back in, and there it is. So we're going to hope that we can get to 3 Drill Pecks right here before we get fast moved down, because that should do a decent amount of chip damage. And remember, I do have Breaking Swipe already on Steelix, and the whole goal of this Zapdos here, I don't get to 3, unfortunately. That is a Dragon Breath Giratina Altered, which makes this matchup better for Steelix because we're heavily resisting, and we go for Breaking Swipe right away. And now we're in a very good position. Remember, the Registeel is somewhat low, and it's out of energy. It threw a Zap Cannon and bailed. So all it comes down to is what Pokemon number 3 is, and my hope that Golisopod with a shield can win this game for me. So what I'm going to look to do here is swap now into Golisopod and go for an aggressive farm down. They bring in Registeel, which is very interesting, as I'm going to be allowed to massively overload on energy, knowing that they already dumped, right, the Zap Cannon. So we get the liquidation off. We do get a shield, so we're going to go ahead and now commit to the farm down. I will give up a shield right here, but I think my energy is what's most important in order to win this game. So I'm going to go for the aggressive farm down. This is what I love about a Golisopod. It's just so satisfying with Shadow Claw and the animation that it has. Like, it doesn't get a lot better than that when it comes to satisfying animations. And they decided to shield. I'm like, what is that final Pokemon? So we will get hit with the Dragon Claw, which I'm fine with. I can farm down with Shadow Claw, and now we're loaded on energy. Final Pokemon is in fact going to be a Swampert. So Golisopod right here doing a very nice sweep for me, as Liquidation is going to be lowering the defense as well. We get to another one here in time, and this is going to be a good game. They just don't have enough energy or health in order to win this one, as we get a double defense drop, and I swap into Steelix to catch the charge move, and this was the Earthquake. Oh, devastating. Good game, very well played, but Golisopod, a beautiful, beautiful game right there, and a beautiful sweep. Alright, moving into the next one. We have Steelix on the lead versus Walrein. So, pretty decent matchup. Earthquake doesn't do that much damage, especially with Breaking Swipe debuff, but I still love catching the energy on Golisopod if I can. Because it'll just be so wasted. But we're looking pretty good right here. I will try to swap, but I didn't get the timing right there, which is fine. We're going to go ahead and let this go. It is going to be the Earthquake, and honestly, yeah, not that much damage. We will go for another Breaking Swipe here. And remember, if we catch a charge move on Golisopod, it's going to be resisted either way, Icicle Spear or Earthquake. So that's what we're going to hope to do. We're going to go ahead and swap now. And they do decide to stay in and actually swap out now into Giratina Origin. So this is a matchup that we can flip. We will have to invest shields in order to do so. But with Aerial Ace and Shadow Claw, as you can see, they're already below 50% HP. So Golisopod is actually really putting in some work here against Giratina Origin. And this also pays off for Zapdos, because it's going to do a lot better maybe against a Walrein with its electric type moves, or against a Pokemon that's in the back. Now they did get to a Shadow Ball, which I shielded, and I commit to the aggressive farm down, but they do get a second Shadow Ball in time. So I'm actually going to go ahead and look to take Switch, because I think this energy can go a lot of places, as Walrein coming back in. This is a tell that they're weak in the back, right? So Walrein will be able to throw Icicle Spears here. We do survive. We will be able to get an Aerial Ace off. And now it's going to be a matter of what Pokemon number 3 is going to be. So they decide to no shield. It is going to be a Charizard. So I go ahead and go for Liquidation here. And now we need to bail out of Golisopod because I don't want to get farmed down. So I will go back into Steelix and go for a Breaking Swipe, as this will now debuff the Charizard and they actually can't clear it. If you guys didn't know, when it comes to buffs or debuffs, so an attack drop right there can be cleared if you swap the Pokemon out of the battlefield and back into your, basically your team or your party. Now Blast Burn does take us down, so what we're going to do is come in with Zapdos and hope that we can just fast move down with Thunder Shock right here. As you guys can see, we're actually doing a good amount of damage. I could also potentially get to 2 Drill Pecks, but it's gonna be close. So we're going to go ahead, and I maybe should have gone for the fast move right there, now looking at it. But Drill Peck should be getting the final shield, as they actually do. No, it would have been CMP tie, so that's fine. So they do get the Dragon Claw here. This is going to be taking us out, and now it's going to be up to Golisopod with Shadow Claw to win this one, and a simultaneous KO. All right, moving to the next one, we got Steelix versus Shadow Dragonite. So very positive lead right here. We will see them swap out into Cresselia. I'm going to go ahead and come in with Golisopod. Now, my Golisopod here doesn't have X-Scissor. That would be very nice for this matchup, but I found the Aerial Ace Safe Swap Golisopod to have potential better coverage against the common counters that we are seeing come in. So that's going to be Giratina Altereds that we've seen quite a bit in today's video so far, because you can do that neutral damage. And it's also very nice against Virizions and Tapu Finis. Just the super effective or neutral right there. Now we do get a defense drop with Liquidation, which is obviously very good. We're going to go ahead and shield the Grass Knot. And we're starting to put in some work here with Shadow Claw and Liquidation, as this might just get a second shield from my opponent, which is totally fine by me, because a 1-0 shield Zapdos or Steelix can put in a lot of work against the whole meta. So we're going to go ahead and let the Moonblast go through, and then we're going to come in with that Steelix and load up on energy. This, you couldn't have asked for a better farm down situation than this right here. 1-0 shields against a Cresselia with a Steelix that doesn't take that much damage from the pool toy over there, as we can easily farm down. And we will see that the final Pokemon is going to be Tapu Fini. So I'm going to go ahead and swap out into Zapdos. In comes the Dragonite, which is totally fine, because Thunderbolt here does an incredible amount of neutral damage. Remember, this is Shadow Dragonite as well. So a Thunderbolt here basically near KOs. It's so much raw damage, and you just love to see it. Boom! Nearly one-shots. We get the full farm down with Thundershock, and now we have a Thunderbolt ready to go for Tapu Fini, and this again, basically one-shot. Zapdos is a Glass Cannon, a Zappy Cannon right here. Boom! Oh, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. We still have Steelix as well in the back with an Earthquake and one shield, so that is going to be a good game. Very well played. And that might have been the final battle. No, I got one more. Is that the final one? Yeah, we got one more. All right, we got Steelix now versus Nidoqueen. Okay, so really positive lead right here. You do need to be concerned about the Earth power, but honestly, it doesn't do that much damage, especially since in this matchup, you just want to go straight Breaking Swipe. I know you're like, I could just go Earthquake, right? But they may not stay in long enough. They may try to debuff you and bail out, so instead I'm going Guaranteed Damage and Guaranteed Damage Lowering, as we do see a swap out now into Jellicent, so I'm going to go ahead and throw the Breaking Swipe. Now, I decided to go into Golisopod after they throw a charge move here. I decided to go into Golisopod, and my thoughts for this is Golisopod can come out of here with Liquidation, and Shadow Claw does do super effective damage, as you guys are seeing, and they have to land Shadow Balls as well, which won't do too much. It's able to survive. As you guys see, that's actually pretty decent amount of damage taken, but now we're in a very good position where if this Aerial Ace lands or doesn't land, we're just committing to the farm down. So it does land. I will give up a shield here. And now I come out. Zapdos, right, could have been great, right, with Thunderbolt. But I thought on the back end, the Nidoqueen coming back in is going to get absolutely devastated by Liquidations, as they do decide to swap out. So I'm going to go ahead and go for them. We do get a shield. We're going to be able to get to another one in time, as they will go for a Poison Fang. We only take neutral here, and it actually doesn't do that much damage, as we are able to survive, and we get the next Liquidation off, which is perfect, because now this is going to be taking out the Nidoqueen. Boom! Now we're in the ones. We took switch advantage. They come in with Jellicent. We simultaneous KO, and now they come in with their own Steelix. Now the things get interesting here. This is where the mind games comes into play. I am ahead on energy, so I'm going to go ahead and go for the guaranteed Earthquake so that I can land it or get a shield, and we land it. That makes this so much better. Now, my win condition here is no shielding a breaking swipe. So I got to play to that, and we did. Perfect. So now we're going to go ahead and go for our own breaking swipe. There's no reason to try to go for the earthquake because I wouldn't get there in time. It's better to lower the attack so that Zapdos has a potential better option, or the opportunity I should say, to win in the end game, as this next breaking swipe is not enough to KO. We get another one on our own Steelix, and look at that grin. Look at that absolute grin as we now can swap into our Zapdos and go for double Drill Peck. And because the attack is so dramatically lowered here on the opponent, shield the earthquake as well, they're not going to be able to do that much damage. Doesn't matter how glassy the Zapdos is, double breaking swipe debuff there against that Steelix is not going to give it, or is going to lower its attack enough so that it doesn't become a threat here to Zapdos, as we are able to win here with this Drill Peck. So that is going to be a good game. Very well played. Oh, we got another one. Steelix versus Komodo. Okay, so this is an interesting one. They do swap out into Jellicent. So I'm going to go ahead and go for the breaking swipe like before, apply that debuff, and then look to come in once again with Golisopod. Same reasoning as the Nidoqueen, where the Aerial Ace on the back end, I can still do a healthy farm down with Shadow Claw. It's a lot better of a farming fast move as compared to Thundershock. And the Aerial Ace on the back end does do super effective damage against the Komodo. So we're going to go ahead and look to give up a shield right here on this next potential Shadow Ball. And then we're going to overload quite a bit and look to go for an Aerial Ace now in order to take it out. Maybe I should have thrown one turn sooner, noticing that I was already capped right there, so that's a misplay on my end. But I should be able to farm down. Now they do get to a Surf, so I got to let this go. It's not enough for a Shadow Ball. And we can survive that easily. And now we have Aerial Aces ready to go as Komodo does decide to come in. So Aerial Ace here, decent amount of damage, to be honest. It actually puts in some work, and we get another one right away. And then we'll have to see what the Komodo decides to do, as it's going to be extremely low. I counter swap back into Steelix to force it out so that it doesn't get a good farm down and lots of energy, and also maintains my Golisopod for a sacrificial swap later on. Now, against this Registeel, I know before I went for an Earthquake, but in this case, I'm looking to go for breaking swipes to lower the attack here. And I'm going to go ahead and shield the Focus Blast. And then now we're just going to be trying to play mind games. I'm going to go ahead and go for another breaking swipe, hoping they think this one is the Earthquake. Again, we got to play the bait game now. And they decide to not bite. They decide to no shield. But thankfully, because of double breaking swipe debuffs here, the Registeel's Focus Blast is actually not a threat to Steelix. The next one will be, which is why I have the Switch Claw coming back up. I saved energy. I'll go ahead and come in with Zapdos. And now this is a good position where we can constantly load up on energy, because Zap Cannon just doesn't do anything. They bring in the Komodo, so we're going to go ahead and go for a Drill Peck. This automatically gets us a shield. There's no way they wouldn't shield this, as they want to get to a charge move here. But now I have the opportunity on my Steelix to come back in and farm down. So it's kind of a give and take here, as the Komodo does get the farm down. But now my Steelix, right, still healthy, can come back in. Remember, Registeel as well just threw a Zap Cannon, so it's out of energy. So we're going to go ahead and come in and farm down. Now, Registeel coming back in, we're going to go for the Earthquake now. This is going to be the opportunity for us to potentially land it, and it does. That's beautiful. Registeel now is in a tough position because I can go for breaking swipe here to force that final shield, and you guys are already seeing how this is going to add up. The Golisopod with Shadow Claw is going to be winning this game for me, and Registeel cannot build up to back-to-back charge moves. It only has access to extremely high energy cost ones. So now Golisopod can come in and Shadow Claw down, and that is going to be a good game. Very well played. So overall, this team was a lot of fun. Do I have another? No, that was the last one. Overall, this team was a lot of fun. We saw some situations where, you know, the Zapdos just wasn't the best answer in terms of the Alolan Sandslash teams. So you could have other options there, but I think Golisopod and Steelix are very good overall and great Pokemon for you guys to invest in. And the Golisopod today absolutely did extremely well for me. Very impressed with it. I'm glad I saved up a good PvP IV and invested Stardust. So hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and like always, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.